to the Be My Guest podcast, where we interview inspiring entrepreneurs who share their stories and their insights and much, much more. You made a great choice tuning in today to the Be My Guest podcast. Welcome and enjoy the show. Hey guys, this is Frankie with Be My Guest podcast. We got another great episode with another great guest today to share with you. I am excited about this episode. Before I get into that, let me remind you, if you want to be interviewed on our podcast, go to our BeMyGuestPodcast.com website, BeMyGuestPodcast.com website, and click on Get Interviewed so we can talk to you about the potential of you coming on our podcast and being interviewed as well. Without further ado, let me bring on our guest today, Valerie Kim. Valerie, thanks for joining us on the Be My Guest podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here today.
Awesome. Why don't you take a moment and share with our audience who you are, what you do, and how you got started?
Well, basically, my background, I'm world champion. This was always my passion, like sport dancing. But I was always an entrepreneur since I graduated university. So I started, I had a full-time job, but I also was passionate because of dancing. So my first business was dancing school, even though everyone thought, no, go find job and keep it safe and secure. That was actually I did, but parallel to the job that I didn't really like, I started my own business, and that's how it all began. And it was not just like studying and reading the books, but actually go into the real world and learning from there. So nowadays I basically help aspiring entrepreneurs as well as seasoned one to start or scale their business, but mostly I also use some tools and techniques to work with subconscious mind to accelerate results, and primarily to, as I call it, do a life makeover or self-reinvention, because you can't be the same person if you want to achieve bigger goals.
That's pretty cool. And what was it that triggered this for you that made you think or consider doing this as your role of helping people reinvent themselves? What was it? Did something happen in your life or something did you have to overcome that kind of made it more important for you, and you knew others would need the same type of situation as well?
I guess passion-driven businesses, so to say, they all start as a founder went through something. For me, there were many stages in life, or let's say crisis situations, even like being, let's say, in a situation of like being suicidal to transform into a world champion. Or there's also like life transitioning situations, is loss of close, people whom we love. For me, it was family, to basically saying, you know what, I'm still alive. There is something I can bring into this world, and figuring out, first of all, who am I, what I'm passionate about, what is my light, let's say, how can I serve people? And that's how it all began. And that's why the reinvention starts basically to understand who you are, what is your purpose, and how you can monetize it if basically that's what you want to build life on it. Of course, not all people choose this path. For some, it's just volunteering or hobby, but it is possible to turn it into a business, and then it's basically what fuels you, what drives you. For me, I think the last episode was basically going out from very long relationships, marriage, and fully, when you are in a specific environment, specific relationship, there is time when you actually forget who you are, you kind of blend. And this is the thing, when you're starting a new path, this is kind of new, like what's next, what's the new chapter, what I can create. Unfortunately, nowadays I see lots of people who are going through crisis or hardships. There is always a choice, how no, deep can be your this rock bottom, or actually if you want to stay there, or you can use this opportunity to grow and elevate. So for me, it was okay, how can I level up, how can I step up, how can I go deeper and work on my skills, on my abilities, and figuring out how I can bring it into my business.
Yeah. Now, so it sounds like what when you were going through that situation, it sounds like a relationship. How much was it impacting what you were doing as a business?
I think it's always when you start, well, when you are part of their relationships, there are lots of conversations should be done. Sometimes we avoid this like kind of uncomfortable conversations, meaning even like if both partners want to work, supposed to work, how it's going to be, how the support system looks like, especially if you have children. So of course, all areas of your life starts to interfere. Also, if you're a business owner, you have your own business, you have high goals. The question is, are you using the energies from other areas of your life invested in business, and then how you're operating? But the
Mm,
question is, are you actually going to nourishing all the important areas of your life, because you cannot just neglect others and still achieve the goals. And I think it's not really a balance, it's just prioritizing something that is important for you at this particular moment. And that's what I normally start with clients, is just with creating a flower of life. It's basically understanding what exactly your life, ideal life supposed to be, and focusing on the areas that need your attention now. Normally it's up to two, actually two, three areas. It's not 10 or 12, or we know that we can have it all, but not at the same time.
right. What are you finding when you're working with people? Some of the common challenges they have when they go through something that's brought them to this part where they have to reinvent themselves. What are some of the common challenges?
I think it's impact of what they were told who they are, as well as, in social media you go and see how other people live, what is the perceptions, and they're trying to compare and basically measure their life, whether it's success, whether it's some achievements, with what is there, without knowing what is behind the scenes. And
Mm,
I think the hardest part for people is to be honest, like to be true with themselves. What is it they truly want, like not to dream someone else's dreams, but actually figure out what are their dreams. Another part is, okay, if I want to have it, what kind of person I have to become, and what I
mm,
have to let go. And I think the hardest, like second hardest part, is to let go, first of all, old version of yourself. And second is what is attached to it. Sometimes it's
mm.
people, sometimes it's place, conversations, the whole environment, friendships. And then there is, like a transition phase when you're
Yeah.
kind of already embarked on the journey, and then fears comes, like, and you're
Mm,
already in the middle, and there's like a choice: you go back, but you kind of cannot go back. At the same time, people are afraid to go forward and do just like few more steps when they arrive to this point where they want to be. And this is like a challenging part when, there are some tools, techniques that helps them to actually achieve this goal.
yeah.
But it's primarily working with the subconscious mind and the programs about which we are not even aware.
Mm. Can you share any insights on how to tap into those and get those to align with what they want to become?
Well, it's self check. Basically, it's great to ask yourself: is it what I want? Resonates? Where is it exactly resonates? Is it in your mind? It's just something that your logic, your brain invented, or it's somewhere in your heart space. Like you feel this drive, you feel this passion, and that's what basically fuels you to go forward. And the other part is, of course, dealing with this state like every single day. You're kind of balancing and battling with, am I going to fall back, or am I going to move forward?
Mm,
And obviously, for so many people, it's important to understand that your state nowadays is a currency, and how you're feeling yourself, how do you envision your life, it's important how you're feeling in this your desired life, not just what you think, oh, it's a nice house, it's a great business, it's great material things, but how you're actually feeling being there. Because people say, oh, I will be happy if I have ABC, but can you actually envision having this and living this life? Because on a daily basis, it's a very, some people can say, routine, boring thing. So if you want to have business is nothing like glamorous. It's just like specific strategies that you should implement every single day. This is the routine. For some people, it can be really hard to stay persistent and resilient. But understanding like what is it exactly driving you, how does it look like the end result, will help you to basically move forward.
Yeah. What do you recommend to people that think, achieving happiness is success when really it seems to be a lot more like fulfillment? What do you tell people when you're trying to help them reach for a little bit more deeper purpose and meaning than just that?
Well, first of all, define what happiness to you. Like, honestly, sometimes we think it's huge things. It's like 10x our business, it's find this ideal partner, but what does it really mean to you? And another thing is sometimes we're drawing pictures in our mind. The question is, what is actually you bringing to the table, to this business, to this partnership, to whatever you're building? And having this honest conversations with yourself first, coming into alignment. Another thing is how happy you are being yourself and being with yourself. I see there is now a real pandemic with people suffering from loneliness and not
Hmm.
being able to turn it into fulfilling solitude. Even if something happens to you, like, and you have to go, like I say, everything is a phase, and it's up to you how this phase is going to feel. You can struggle, you can suffer and say I'm lonely, or you can say, you know what is the beautiful phase of me learning who I am, going on this journey of self discovery and understanding what actually makes me happy. What are my needs that I can meet by myself without requiring someone to come into my life and do it for me?
Yeah.
And when you become happy version of yourself, because you can actually fulfill this, like behind every single emotion is unmet need. And
Hmm.
when you discover what is this kind of needs and how you can satisfy them without involving, external people, so to say, and becoming this fulfilled and whole person, then you go into partnership, including like business partnerships. Because sometimes people, when they don't have internal stability, they have a tendency, okay, let me jump into the business partnerships, and then they think that, oh, he or she should do this particular job. And
Mm.
interesting to say that they actually maybe not capable, not interested, that they're not doing this part. And that's how lots of partnerships are falling apart, also business wise, not just
Yeah.
relationships wise.
How important to you, even if you're have a personal relationship, you're married, you have a spouse, is it even if they're not involved in the business that you're running? How important do you think it is to have a good relationship outside the business for you personally?
Well, I think it's crucial element if how it's basically impacts your success or not really in terms of, again, many times when people trying to substitute their loneliness or whatever craving or whatever unmet needs with, let's say, partner, and they just like on this stage when, oh, okay, at least I have someone to spend my life with, I'm not lonely anymore and no one tells me that I'm this and that, instead of really being curious what kind of person is next to you and having like really crucial conversations when it comes to long-term partnership, starting from what are your values, what do you want to achieve in life, what is like, are we looking in the same direction, what is the like money, like budgeting, how we're going to manage these things. Very often people bring it already when it's kind of too late. And then on top of this stress and whatever is going on in your career and your business, you have to face what's going on at home.
Mm.
And also having the conversations, if both of you are working, both of you have business, and sometimes you need to invest more time. For example, you have product or service launch, how is going to look like. Maybe you're not able to be with your partner or like your spouse when he or she expects you to be. Do you need to actually have this conversation prior and say, sorry, it's not because I don't love you, don't care, but this is the thing.
Yeah.
So how are you managed to do these conversations? I think it's all, you know, comes on top, all these conversations that you haven't had or missed And over the years, sometimes people come to the point when it's too much.
Yeah.
So I think the sooner, the better you are crystal clear what you're looking for in such kind of relationships.
Yeah. Maybe I know working with someone, you may not be able to share their names, but do you have a couple of examples of clients you work with, and after working with you, it showed some significant results? Can you share some of those examples?
What kind of results?
Well, any significant results where they were able to improve themselves and their business after working with you?
Well, sometimes people come, particular like when they already in the crisis, so to say,
Hmm.
or they're going through this life transition. Lots of people are going through, like, let's say, heartbreaks. Something happened in their life. There are some clients who just relocate and they're feeling lost, especially if you are like in Europe and every single country you have like completely different language. So they have this feeling of loneliness and being lost and frustrated. And I think like great results when people start to understand, first of all, who I am, how that I have actually value and true worth that is not really related to, let's say, material results or material things that I have, but it's just me, who I am worthy. And then going deeper and understanding, okay, how can I serve? And it's not just like starts from, let's say, numbers, like what kind of numbers I want to hit in my business. First, how do you want to serve? The next level goes to money. And I think one of the results is when some of my clients started their own business, were able to really scale it and go international. And other also results when people are afraid to be visible, and when they take this leap of faith and actually start to showing themselves up in social media, telling more who they are, what they are, like speaking up, going on stages, share what are their stories, what they're good at, and actually start selling and finding like clients from stage.
Yeah. What was it about your situation that really let you know you're going to be able to help someone else do the same thing?
I think very often like people come to you and just ask for advice, and you need to actually listen what they actually want to learn from you.
But
It's
what would you? I mean, did you walk around with a sign that says "I'll give you advice," or what attracted people to
well,
you to give to say they want advice from you?
Well, I think if you become visible, whether you have your own social media, people notice and they DM you, for example, or
To,
for
okay,
example,
okay, but wait, there had to be something that made them want to reach out to you. Were you posting certain content? Were you talking about certain things? I mean,
yeah, I think it's like vulnerability is when you actually tell the story of what you went
so
through, for
so you
example.
were so you were posting content. You were
Yeah,
sharing some vulnerability. Okay.
yes,
All right, gotcha. So you were talking about some things that were going on with you personally, and then it really helped people kind of connect with you, and then they
yeah.
started reaching out. Got you. Okay, gotcha. Very good. Very good. Um, when you're trying to help someone through things, what's some of the strategies that you use or frameworks you use that kind of get them started and help them along the way?
First of all, of course, you are building rapport, so to say, with the person to understand who they are. And if we actually aligned, if I can help the person, then you take this person on a journey trying to understand what are their true needs. Very often people come and say, for example, I earned this amount, I want that amount. But it's not, sometimes it's not that all people are motivated by money. And you have to figure
Mhm.
out what is motivation behind, and then really what is the real goals behind everything what person says. The interesting part is very often people when they say something, like if it's like therapy, let's say they are lying, truth being told. So this is the work to understand where is this in the truth, what do you actually want. And I think this is very important to define where you want to come, because you already, like the person you are, as I said in the beginning, already created like the cows, the life, whatever it is, whether you like it or not, what you have now. So when you define what you want next, we start this process of self reinvention and life makeover through changing
Mm,
beliefs that you have in your subconscious mind, then the person feels different because there is no this baggage and heaviness inside. Very often people say, okay, why don't you release the emotions? And you can also figure out that a lot of people are so disconnected with their emotions, like they don't allow themselves even to cry, to be honest, to say, oh, I'm happy or I'm sad. Why it's happening? Because when you're going through challenges, what is our first thing is to like shut down pain
mm,
and all the emotions that are actually connected to the same kind of plug. If you're shutting down pain, everything negative, you're also shutting down all good. So there is no way that if you stop feeling like insane amount of negative emotions, that you will also be still able to experience great. So the
okay.
biggest part is actually fix, remove these bad types of emotions, connect, like plug in the emotions that the person starts to feel alive again and
Yeah.
allow himself or herself to experience life deeper. And then going through this journey, you want like to live, not just survive.
Yeah.
And this is like the important part when you basically lead person to the point when where he or she wants to be.
Right. Right. So for you, what's the process like working with you? Do you do like group sessions or one-on-one sessions, or and where do you want to take your business? What's the vision that you have for what you do?
Currently, I do more one-to-ones. We do run, of course, big business summits with hundreds of people, but it's just like one-day event. For like, let's say, coaching business for me would be great to just automate, and in the future, when you already know small things
Hmm.
fixable, to turn it to something digital course. But to be honest, I'm just like still thinking how to make it more um, engaging, let's say, because there are billions of courses, people just buy, never finish them. There's no
Hmm.
transformation, just waste of money.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to understand, okay, where we're moving, looking forward, what is technology wise can be done, whether it's AI or what is innovating way to make it happen. So I think it's just like exploring, testing different platforms and see where we're moving.
Yeah. And you talked about you help people with visibility, exposure. Talk about how you do that and what some of the things you offer when it comes to those things.
We create in-person events because I think nowadays what is really missing in, like, it's great that we're connecting, we're living in different parts of the world, but actually we're losing this human touch, the human factor. We're already like disconnecting. When you go
Right.
to many events, people very like they're struggling to have even like small talks. They don't know what to talk about. They're afraid to introduce themselves sometimes, or it's like really random conversations. So that's why we're running in-person events, and basically people who work with us who are already established business owners and they want to promote their business, they have an opportunity to go on stage, be more visible, and build great, long-lasting, authentic connections.
Nice. So you're partnering up with business owners who will help you put on the event, and then in exchange, by them helping you do that, you they get to go up on stage and share their business and kind of share it with the audience. Did I get that
Yeah.
right?
But
Gotcha.
primarily, they not just motivational speakers or whoever, but they are really great coaches. They have great products because you can't change lives of people in one day. That people have a taste, and if they want to continue working with the person, they can just directly book and work.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's amazing. So that is a good exposure and visibility for businesses, as well as helping those who are looking for services, etc. So now you do these events. Where do you usually have these, all across the world, or certain countries and places, or where are these events usually going to be held?
At this moment, we focusing on Middle East. So we did events this year in Dubai and Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, and the next one is happening in February next year in Dubai.
Awesome. And they can, anyone watching can find more information on your website. They're going to post it here. Uh, they can find more information on that website there, scrolling across.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Valerie, is there any last parting words you want to share with the guests here, or the audience? Maybe you didn't get to share, and maybe you can share now with them.
Sure. Well, if you're in your entrepreneurial journey, just make sure that you don't lose this connection and touch with why you actually started everything. So I think vision, mission, and purpose cannot be, overestimated. If you're feeling tired, or you're like feeling so many things are dragging energy from you, I think that the great way to recalibrate is to remind yourself what actually matters for you the most, and start and like creating a vision. Doesn't matter if it's just a picture, or if you wrote it down, or just it's your own like imagination. What is the bigger picture of your business? How do you
Yeah.
envision this, and how would you feel yourself? And every time when something goes wrong, take, I don't know, 5 minutes, reconnect with your vision, and figure out what are the next steps that can help you to move forward.
Yeah. Having a compelling vision goes a long way. The good book says, without vision, people perish, right? So, but Valerie, thanks for coming on, sharing with us on the Be My Guest podcast today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You've been watching Being My Guest podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, go to BeMyGuestPodcast.com. That's BeMyGuestPodcast.com.